Welcome into today's live edition of my NBA mailbag where I'm answering all of your questions. And hey, if I didn't get to your question today, you can hit me up on Twitter at Jimmy_Crowther, and I'll try to answer as many NBA questions as you have. Curtis gets the first question of the day and says, didn't the Rockets say they won't trade Harden to the Nets unless it's for KD or Kyrie Irving? They did say they wouldn't trade they wouldn't trade James Harden, unless it was for KD or Kyrie. But here's the thing. Deadlines make deals. And so when you get closer to the trade deadline, all of a sudden the Houston Rockets are sitting on the best trade offer they can find from, Denver for a couple first-round picks and Gary Harris. All of a sudden, they'll call Brooklyn back and say, hey, that Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Allen kind of duo with some draft picks and Karis LeVert in there is looking a lot better. So, I know Brooklyn's not the favorite right now. You've got Philly in the mix, and according to Mark Stein, they are the favorites to land him right now. But that Brooklyn trade package looks pretty darn strong. However, if Philly's calling up and offering Ben Simmons, you got to think that that's probably the team James Harden ends up on. Jackson Fulton, 27, says if Harden goes to the Bucks, will Harden and Giannis have any more beef? You'd hope not. I mean, I would hope the Bucks would make that trade knowing Giannis is cool with James Harden. He's their franchise guy. He's a free agent in 2021. They're obviously going to talk to Giannis before they decide, hey, we're going to go out and trade for who was your arch nemesis in James Harden. And now as I check my calendar, it's December 11th, which means there are 11 days, in the time we're recording this, there's 11 days until Giannis has to sign that extension, or else he becomes a free agent in 2021. So we'll see what they end up doing. But I have a good feeling if the Bucks traded for James Harden, Giannis would squash any kind of beef that he has, and they would be just fine and actually end up playing pretty darn well together. Abstract Soldier, as my friend Mitchell Rins would say, get a picture, says, who will be one surprise rookie to watch out for? And he uses, of course, that hashtag NBA. That's a good question because I know a lot of these people want to know, hey, who's the rookie of the year? Who's the star rookies to watch out for? But the guys that nobody's really talking about, I'm going to give you a first-round guy, and I'm going to give you a second-round guy as well. And my first-round guy is the pick from the San Antonio Spurs, Devin Vassell out of Florida State. And yes, it's pronounced Vassell, not Vassell, as I was so mistakenly wrong about for so long. He was picked 11th in the draft. I had him top 10 on my board. I thought he could have possibly been a top 7 pick. And I think he was the best 3-and-D prospect in this draft, just purely based off the way he played at Florida State. And look, he has a bit of a funky shot. He kind of has that slingshot release where he brings it behind his head and then lets it go. But he shot the ball really, really well at FSU. He's a great athlete. And the most important part is that he plays for the Spurs. The best player on the Spurs right now is DeMar DeRozan. Devin Vassell has a chance to shine in San Antonio. But let's talk about my second-round guy because it's easy to break down the first-round guys. And maybe I'm cheating here because he was the first pick in the second round. But Tyrell Terry out of Stanford is going to be an absolute stud in the NBA. Now, let me say this. I don't know if it's going to happen in 2020, 2021 because the Mavs have a lot of guards, right? They have Trey Burke. They have Jalen Brunson. Obviously, Luka Doncic is their starting point guard, and they'll roll with him. But when you need a three-point bucket or you need a smart point guard on the floor, Tyrell Terry is going to do that. He broke the record for basketball IQ testing during the Combine. And when he was asked about it, he said, I thought it was pretty easy. I just took the test, and I broke a record. That's why the kid went to Stanford, okay? He's a pretty smart dude, and that's going to make him a fan favorite and obviously a Rick Carlisle favorite as well. I'm excited about the prospect that is Tyrell Terry. I think there will be some games where, hey, he plays 15 minutes, he's on, the Mavs are blowing somebody out, and there's going to be games where he doesn't even suit up, and I think that's okay, but that's a guy I would watch out for this year. But which rookie are you the most excited about this season? Maybe it's somebody on your favorite team. Maybe it's somebody that nobody is talking about right now. There's a lot of under-the-radar guys that came out of this draft, and a lot of people that, some people may not know or aren't household names right now. So let me know in the comment section, which player coming out of that 2020 draft are you the most excited about this year? And whoever you're excited about, you can find their City Edition gear right now on Fanatics. Chatsports.com/NBA City. You can get any jersey, any style, any team you want at chatsports.com/NBA City. And it's not just jackets or jerseys or t-shirts. They have accessories like backpacks. They have shorts, team shorts. They got hoodies. They got everything you need. And listen, with Christmas right around the corner, you got to go get it today. Chatsports.com/NBA City. Make sure to check out that link. I'll put it in the comments. I'll put it in the description as well. Check them out. When you click down that link, it helps us out and it helps our friends out over at Fanatics. L.I. says, who are your 8th seed predictions? Ooh, good question. Eastern Conference 8th seed. I think the Hawks are probably closer to a 6 or 7 seed. Probably closer to a 6 seed, honestly, after the moves they made. I think the Wizards are definitely a team I would watch out for. In the Western Conference, the Pelicans are always a team that I would look out for, or are a team that I'd look out for this year because they made some really good moves in the offseason. You know, another Eastern Conference 8 seed team, I'm just kind of checking out the standings right here from last year. You know, don't sleep on the Charlotte Hornets. They were 9th in the East last year. They took steps in the right direction. And, you know, are they better than Orlando? They possibly could be, and that knocks a playoff team out right away. One more team for the Western Conference that I look at, I think it's going to be between probably 3 or 4 teams. Phoenix, New Orleans, and Memphis. I'd watch out for those 3 teams to get the 8th seed in the Western Conference. Ian Dudge Villanea says, should the Lakers get Korver or buy out Ariza? So if Ariza's bought out, the Lakers wouldn't be buying Trevor Ariza out. Let's make that perfectly clear. The Oklahoma City Thunder would have to buy out Trevor Ariza. I would lean Trevor for 2 reasons. Number one, he knows the organization already. That really makes a big impact. He played 2 years there. He won a ring in Los Angeles in the purple and gold. But also because he's a defender. And the Lakers don't have a lot of good wing defense. They have KCP. They have LeBron. You know, outside of that, Wesley Matthews is kind of your other wing guy, defender. Alfonso McKinney maybe. Trevor Ariza is probably better than Alfonso McKinney is right now. So I would lean Ariza, but hey, if you want 3-point shooting, Kyle Korver never hurts. And if you want more Lakers video or more Lakers coverage, just like, you know, me answering that kind of question, go to youtube.com/LakersTV. We just hit 30,000. That's right. We did it for Julius Randle. Shout out to him. So we're going to keep on growing. We're hitting 31K next, and then we're just going to jump straight to 40,000 at youtube.com/LakersTV. Dylan Prevette says, should the Hornets get Rudy Gobert in 2021? I mean, Rudy Gobert and Gordon Hayward, I guess, did play together, so they have a little bit of a relationship there. If they got Rudy Gobert, I mean, okay, let's play this hypothetical game. LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, P.J. Washington, Rudy Gobert, and whoever they get in this next year's draft, that's a pretty darn good team in the Eastern Conference. Championship bound? I don't know. Maybe if LaMelo really pans out, but if they can go get him, I say absolutely. Gia Hua says, should the Celtics trade for Buddy Hield? You know, here's the reason that I say no. Number one, you're giving up assets for Buddy Hield. And at this point, I think we know what Buddy Hield is. He's a great 3-point shooter, but he doesn't really play a lot of defense, and he's not a great playmaker. And somebody that I think Buddy Hield is very, very similar to already is Aaron Nesmith, who shot 52% from 3 at Vanderbilt. So at the end of the day, I'm going to say no, and you just kind of rely on Aaron Nesmith off the bench to be your sharpshooter. That's all that Buddy Hield would be. Plus, again, who are you giving up for Buddy Hield? You really want to give up bench assets for him? I'm not so sure. Con Kim says, Raptors send Lowry and a first to the Warriors. The Warriors send Andrew Wiggins and James Wiseman to Houston. Houston says James Harden to the Raptors, and Toronto sends Terrence Davis to Houston. You know, Con Kim, I'm going to blame this one on producer Brett for even putting this one in the video because that's a lot of moving pieces. But I think Houston says no just simply because you're getting 2 really unproven talents in Andrew Wiggins and Wiseman for an MVP candidate in James Harden. So unless there's draft picks involved, I'm going to say Houston says no. Warriors, they might also say no because they might want to stick with that young core. I don't know what the Raptors are going to do in this situation, but all around, too many moving parts, not going to happen. Super chat from Vince. Vince, I appreciate your super chats every single week. You're the man. Keep it coming. He says, will a team sign J.J. Barea this season, or is it likely over? We need a J.J. appreciation night sometime this season. You know what? One night, we'll go live on All Things Mavs, and we'll just talk about J.J. Barea for a straight hour. You know, that's just what we're going to do. We'll have a straight-up appreciation night for J.J. You know, if a team wanted to sign him and he wants to go somewhere where he can just win, that team is probably the Los Angeles Clippers because they do need point guard depth, and it would be a good fit if they feel like he can still contribute. But if he wants to go somewhere he can just play, I mean, you're talking about sending him, him going off like Sacramento or something like that. I think a team will pick him up eventually because I do think he has a little bit left in the tank. I'm just not sure how many minutes he's going to get. And at the end of the day, he'll still be back in Dallas as a coach at some point in his career. And if you want more Dallas Mavericks coverage, guess what? I got you covered at youtube.com/allthingsmavs. We're growing like crazy. We're quickly approaching 13,000 subscribers. I want to get there before the season starts, and I think you guys can help me do that by hitting that big red subscribe button over at youtube.com/allthingsmavs, or you can go follow me on Twitter at all_things_Mavs. Caleb Davidson says, are the Warriors a top 4 team in the Western Conference? Well, first of all, Caleb, make sure you subscribe to our Warriors channel. You can see that link right below me. But I'm sorry, but I got to lean no. If they had Klay Thompson, I would have said yes, absolutely. I would have said 100% they would be a top 4 team in the Western Conference. But when you look at really just the teams that I think are already better than them, indefinitely, there's 5 teams that come to mind. And this is in alphabetical order. I want to make this very, very clear. This is not in any particular order besides being alphabetical. So I guess it is a particular order. But the Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic, Kristaps Porzingis, and their whole team, that core right now, and when healthy, is definitely better than the Warriors. The Denver Nuggets, we know Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. That duo is fearsome. I think they're top 2, top 3 in the Western Conference. The Clippers, obviously. The Lakers, obviously. And you can make an argument. You can sway me one way or another on the Utah Jazz, I suppose. But I think the Utah Jazz are a better team as of right now. You still have Mike Conley. I know he wasn't great, but he's still a good veteran. You have Donovan Mitchell, who is great. You have Rudy Gobert, who is great. Bojan Bogdanovic, Joe Ingles. I think people are kind of forgetting about how good this Utah team could be, including myself. But I'm sorry. I just don't think Golden State is there if they're not fully healthy. And we already know that they aren't fully healthy. But what do you guys think? It's all about you guys. This show is always about what you guys think. Will the Warriors be top 4 in the Western Conference? Type Y for yes, or type you're in for no. Let me know in the comment section. I'm sorry. I know I'm hating, but I'm typing my in for no. Gundy Wundy coming in with another Warriors question. Says, trade for the Warriors, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green. Man, combining both those guys, it's just so difficult because both their salaries are so big that you can't really move them in the same trade. If you're going to trade Andrew Wiggins, you're probably going to want to go out and get, a top-tier guy that can play better defense than Andrew Wiggins can. And I don't know who that looks like right now. I'm not sure what they do. Maybe they trade him for a defensive guy or maybe a future draft pick. And Draymond Green, I don't know. I don't know where Draymond Green fits in today's NBA with other teams. I think Steve Kerr has a perfect role for him carved out. I'm afraid Draymond's problem would be if he ended up getting traded, a team wouldn't know how to use him right, and that would be a big problem. Plus, let's be honest, Draymond is a huge part of the culture for the Golden State Warriors. I don't really think that's a team or that's a player that they're looking to move as he's going to look to mentor the younger guys like James Wiseman, Kelly Oubre, and Andrew Wiggins. Tom Gibson says, will the 76ers make the playoffs? Absolutely, the 76ers will make the playoffs. I don't think there's any way they miss it. The only way it goes totally south is if one of Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid suffer a major injury. But they got better this offseason. They added Seth Curry. I know they lost Josh Richardson, but Seth Curry fits them better. They went out and they added Dwight Howard, a good bench player. They got rid of Al Horford. They bring in Danny Green as well. That team addressed a lot of needs, and they're going to play with a little bit more space, and that's what's so important to playing alongside Ben Simmons. Tazzy27, Trevor Ariza and George Hill trade oppositions, and do you think OKC is done trading? I think Trevor Ariza and George Hill could both be prime candidates for guess who, but the Los Angeles Lakers. But I don't think it'd be via trade. I think it'd be via buyout. And I don't know if George Hill is going to get bought out. Trevor Ariza now with the Thunder. I don't know if the Thunder are done making trades. I can't imagine they are with Al Horford and Ariza still under contract right now. I think Sam Presti's going to probably pull something out of his butt in order to get another first-round pick for Al Horford and or Trevor Ariza. Tom Gibson coming in again says, does Lonzo Ball have a shot at the All-Star team? No. He plays in the Western Conference. He's mainly a defensive guard at this point. If his three-point shot looks great, potentially, but at the end of the day, no, not in the West. If he were in the Eastern Conference, I'd give him a shot. And if he were on a team that wasn't as good and didn't have as many good guards, I'd say sure. But, his guard situation is also pretty loaded up in New Orleans. I think eventually he has a shot at an All-Star team, but he's not an All-Star this year.